I loved working with Scorsese. Marty always picks one crew guy that's his buddy, and it happened to be me. I lucked out because I'm a film fan, he's a film fan, and we kind of got together that way. I got a couple of good stories there. But in the very beginning, everybody said, don't talk to Marty. Don't look him in the eye. Don't stand behind him. Don't make any noise. Don't bother him. And it's like, oh, come on, man. I gotta work with this guy and I can't talk to him. So I think the very first day we were doing makeup tests, pre-shooting, and I just said, screw it. I'm going to just start talking to him. And if I cross the line, they'll let me know and I'll back off. Right. And so I just went up to him, started talking to him about movies. And I brought out a question because he is a historian. Right. And I went up and said, Marty, maybe you can help me. There's a movie I saw and I only saw it once. It was about this whole community that starts hearing this voice coming through the radio, and it's the voice of God. And they're all kind of like wondering, who is this? And they all hear it all week. And then on Sunday, he's going to give the big sermon, and they go to the big sermon. Everybody's standing by waiting to hear God speak. And he doesn't say anything, but the community came together. And that's kind of the point of the movie. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's called The Last Voice You Heard. It was done in 1963. And it was done. There's a great story about it. And he's like going on and on about it. And it's like, and I was in from then on because I was a film buff and I was in. And it was just one of those things. I could talk to him about anything. And Joe Reedy, who was the first AD, used to use me when Marty was in a shitty mood. He'd go, Pat, go talk to Marty. He's in a shitty mood. And I'd go talk to him and he'd come out of it. And one day, it was early in the film, a couple weeks in, my position after we were done lighting and we were shooting, I usually sit down close to Video Village and I'm just watching my cameraman. I'm watching Michael just because I can tell him if he goes, if he looks at something, I'll go, Mike, what's the problem? What'd you see? So I'm just paying attention to my boss. And so I'm watching Video Village and Marty's there and Michael and the script supervisor. And Marty goes off on something. I can't remember what it was, but it was some wardrobe screw up or makeup or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, those guys, I'm going to come in there. I'm going to start yelling at these guys. What you tell them to stay in there? And he's like going on and on and on. He's really pissed, right? And a little backstory is like previous in the week, we had been kind of, all of us on set kind of been doing Monty Python bits, like What the Prince, right? Doing little riffs on Monty Python. And so Marty's going, you keep them in there. And Jody, I'm going to bring them all in there. I'm going to yell at them, and he gets up and he walks by me and he stops. He turns to me, goes, what the Prince? And he starts talking to me about Monty Python. And he goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes. Goes, that scene, that's exactly what directing's like. He'll tell the guy to go here and go, yeah, but what if I go over here? No. Just go over here and say the line. And he's like going on about Monty Python. And Joe Reedy, the AD, is standing there waiting for him to go in and scream at the makeup or wardrobe people. And he turns to Joe. He goes, Joe, what are we waiting for? And he goes, nothing, Marty. You ready to go? Okay, let's go. And he goes back and he sits down. And Joe turns to me and goes, this is good, It's like, so he started using me just to distract him and take him off whether he was about to go yell at somebody and then, ricochet him off somewhere else. And it was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun that way. I mean, it was a long show. We had 165 shooting days. I mean, it just went on and on. It was so really long. And like I said, it was short days and wonderful people to work with on a great project. And it was a lot of fun. But another favorite story about that show is we came back from hiatus. We shut down for 2 weeks during Christmas. And everybody went home. We had Englishmen. They went to the UK. We went back to the States. And when everybody came back, as usual, you're all standing around going, hey, how was your Christmas vacation? What'd you do? And people are telling you, go, Marty, what'd you have fun at Christmas vacation? Oh, yeah, had great. I watched a lot of movies, watched Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I'm going, really? Creature from the Black Lagoon? Usually it's Miracle on 34th Street. But, Creature's a good Christmas movie. And he's laughing. I said, somebody ought to redo that. Somebody ought to remake that movie. And he goes, you're right. Yeah, someone should. I said, because, the creature really wanted to get the girl, right? And they couldn't do it in 66. You're right. Somebody ought to do it, right? End of conversation. Went on. About a year later, and the movie Gangs they held the release for a couple of years because of 9/11. 9/11 happened right after we got back. And there's, I don't know how many firemen were killed, and we didn't make firemen look too good in that movie, right? So they didn't release it out of that respect, and also the buildings collapsing, and the end of the movie, there's all this white dust, a little too reminiscent. So they held the release of the movie for a couple of years. So about a year afterwards, I was flying. At one time I had an airplane, and I was flying. And you turn your phone off when you're flying. I was just flying around, and when I landed, I turned my phone on, and it lit up. I had like a half a dozen calls from my wife. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot a portion of. Sorry, I forgot a portion of the story. They held the release, and so we went back. We went to New York about a year after we had originally wrapped and reshot the end of the movie. It was 2 days of shooting. We did it on stage, and I was there for the reshoot. And in that year, I had talked to a friend of mine who was a screenwriter, and I told him the story about the creature from the Black Lagoon and so what I do. And my friend said, "Well, let's do it. Let's write a script." I said, yeah. He said, "Nah, come on, it'll be fun." Right? So we wrote a Creature from the Black Lagoon script, a modern version. And, we spent several months on it, and we finished. It was pretty presentable. It wasn't bad. And so I got out of order with my story here. So when we went to do the reshoots, saw Marty, I said, "Remember you and I talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon?" I said, "I did it. My friend and I wrote a script." He goes, "Give it to me. I want it. Let me have it." I went, "Okay, yeah, I'll send you a copy." So I sent him a copy. Right? So then, after that, I'm flying and I'm landing, and my phone lights up, and it's all my wife. And I'm thinking something horrible happened, fire or some death in the family or something awful. And I get on my phone. She goes, "Marty just called you. He wants to talk to you about your script." I went, "What?" She goes, "Who the hell gets that call?" I said, "I don't know." So I call him. I call his office, right? She said, "Here's a number. He's expecting your call." So I call his office. I get, his hi, this is Pat Daly. Marty called. "Oh, yes, he's expecting your call." Transfers over, comes on. "Okay, great, Pat. So what I got, on page 53, you got this whole thing. I don't know what this does, but I like this part of it." And he starts going. And I'm like standing in the hangar at my airplane. I don't have the script in front of me. So I'm like, I throw out a sectional, which a piloting chart, and I'm writing notes on the sectional. He's like going for 20 minutes. He's telling me, "I love this. Expand on this more. Get rid of this whole thing. I don't like this." And he's going on and on. I mean, really detailed criticism and praise. He goes, "Really good effort. I like it. Send me this when you get it redone."
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I call up my friend, and we ended up using a lot of what Marty told us and rewrote it and sent it to him and never heard anymore. I mean, that was just the end of the story. But it's like, it was just one of those wild things. But I just had a great relationship with him. He was phenomenal film intellect. You'd watch him design shots, and they were really crafted, fun to watch. And all of the actors, I mean, everybody was so amazing. Everybody.